Welcome to this episode of Digital Talk with me, Dr. Ghertasi, on this side of the world, here in Tabriz, in Azerbaijan, in northwestern Iran, joining all the way to Charlotte, in North Carolina, in the States. With me here, Ms. Julia Kappler from Kappler Incorporation. Julia, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Okay, Julia Kappler is the fourth generation of Kappler Company. She was born and raised in Germany, where the headquarters and production of Kappler is located. Growing up in Germany, she learned early on that one will only be successful with their work if you do it with passion. After graduating high school, she decided to go to college for interior design and architecture to follow her passion in design, where she graduated with a Bachelor of Arts. When she turned 19, she got the opportunity to move to the U.S. to run the U.S. operations of the company. Today, she is Vice President of Kappler Incorporation and Kappler Design. Wow, that is quite a resume for someone your age. And actually, Julia, I want to know first off about your company. Can you just tell the story, what it is? So,
Yeah,
what's the story?
absolutely. Yeah. So, like you said, our headquarters is based in Germany. So actually, my great-grandparents founded them in 1947. So 70 years
Uh,
ago, 70 years ago, quite an old company. Since then, it's always been a family business. My dad is the CEO of our company. He's the third generation. My grandma's still there. And then there's me and
ah,
my siblings. So right now we have three generations in the company. So yeah, a lot going on there, of course. So we are specialized in dental, and a lot of times we're called a cabinetry manufacturer, but we're actually a lot more than that. So we do manufacture dental cabinetry, but we also do interior design, space planning, all of that for dental offices. So what we really do is creating systems for dental offices that will then be reflected in interior design, how we lay out their offices, and then, of course, cabinetry. So
awesome.
now I'm located in the US, where we have our second location. And yeah, we have our office here. So I'm running the US operations to really be in the market here in the US just because it's such a big country. So it's hard to manage that from 6 hours time difference. So yeah.
Yeah, it is. So you graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Interior Design and Architecture.
Mhm.
You must be the only one in the company who graduated academically, or there are others in the company too.
Yes, my uncle did go to college as well, who does our IT for us. So my uncle's
Mm.
in the business too. But actually, my grandfather and my dad, they never went to college. They went straight into the family business, do it with passion. So yeah, that's just what they wanted to do. So they jumped right into it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Uh, we're now living in a coronavirus age where most of the world is still in quarantine, or was in quarantine and is slowly moving out of it. So, and the dentistry is one of the most high risk areas, one of the most high risk businesses because of the aerosol and everything generating in this business, where it is actually a healthcare facility. But I see many offices are closed still all around the world, and you know Germany well, and you are in the US. So how do you evaluate the situation? Because people are really worried about how the situation will be after everyone's talking about a new norm, which will be there from now on. And offices need some sort of readiness to get into this subject. So how does it work? What's your experience? What's your estimate right now?
Yeah, I think that is a question that is in everyone's mind right now. So we don't know how new regulations will look like, what's going to happen to how we have to adjust. I think what's most important is that dental environments have always had regulations to keep things sterile, to have a high infection control. So that part is not new, it's always been there. I think the biggest change now is really people's minds. So every patient that walks into an office now, they're biased and they know, hey, there are germs everywhere, I'm afraid. So in the past, a dentist knows everything has to be clean, but now it's really every single person knows that it has to be. So I think not just looking at regulations, how they're going to change because no one knows that. It's really that from now on, your dental office does not only have to be clean, it has to look clean. So if you look at offices now, that have carpet in there, everything's open, you have 20 chairs right next to each other in your waiting area. From now on, I think that we just can't do that anymore because your patients, your staff, they won't feel comfortable just because it does not look clean.
Yeah, actually, when you walk to some even luxurious offices everywhere around the world, here in the Middle East, in Iran, or maybe anywhere in the world, because I look at the images of dental office design all over the internet, and there are many, many designs. There are open designs, there are closed designs, and right now we see many, like maybe there's one big treatment room with like more than one chair in this one with semi-separated designs. I think, and I have looked really into your work on your social media at Kappler.de and on your website and your Facebook. The offices look amazing. I know, and you know, this is a really there's a code that you can see, you can distinctly see in every office, that every treatment room has its separate door. It's a closed area. So I think something's got to change, because with this aerosol control and this negative pressure room that everybody's talking about, there got to be a way to control, actually confine the aerosols in a rather small space rather than spreading out to in a big room.
Yeah. I think that's a very important topic, and it's actually a very big topic here in the US. So I'm not sure how offices normally look like in your country, but here in the US, the average dental office is open. You have an open bay, you have 2 entries. So normally you don't really see closed operatories with an actual door. So we at Kappler, we've always been talking about single entry and why we think it is so important. And I think now finally people are more conscious about the fact that sitting in a dental treatment chair, now you need that privacy. So closing those doors will not only allow our patients to feel more comfortable because it's a more private space, but it will also allow us to give them more safety with air filtration and all those kind of things, which you're not able to do with a dual entry with no doors or an open bay. So what does that look like in your country?
Actually, more of an open one. You used to have like small offices in the past where there was just one treatment room with one door that you could close and you could get out of it. But then again, the sterilization area is not everywhere, a separate area. It's very common to have the sterilizer next to the and a cabinetry next to the chair. So it is different. We do have clinics which is changing. They have their own dedicated separate area, but somehow I do have my separate area in my clinic, but it's not isolated. It's not like it doesn't have a closed door. And I'm thinking of like I'm kind of ready. I can just do some remodeling to make everything separate. But then again, where does the separation come from? Because because I was looking at your talk with Surf CT, and you were just speaking about how US is not so ready for this, where in Germany, maybe the code was different, the regulations are different or something. Where does this come from?
Yeah, so for single entry versus dual entry, it's really about the history in the dental world. So in Europe, a single entry has just been in place for years and years. So everyone practices like that because that's what the market looks like. So here in the US, for the past 20 years, the world just looked like you have a dual entry. So where does that come from? Because before that, 30 years ago, we had that single entry. So why did that change? And the answer to that is that there was an issue that offices had when they work with a single entry. And that issue was that the assistant was not able to get out of the room during a treatment, because if you only have one door where the doctor is, your assistant is trapped in there. So what the market here in the US did is they just gave the doctor or the assistant a door so that they can escape the room. So what they've done with that is they didn't solve the core issue. Because if someone tells me my assistant has to leave the room, my question to them is, why does your assistant have to leave the room? Because you're having a treatment right now, so why does she have to leave? And no one asked that question here. They just gave her a door without asking why. So that core issue I'm talking about is actually the organization of your office. Because the reason why she has to leave is because she forgot something that she needs for that treatment right now. So the issue that we have is that we're not prepared for our treatments. So now in times of Corona, it's not only the issue of being organized, being more efficient, that your assistant is in the room and prepared, but let's think about the fact that your assistant is leaving the room during a treatment. That means she has to take off her gloves, she has to walk through the entire office to the sterilization, grab what she needs, she has to come back, re-glove, disinfect her hands again. So all of that, let's just be in one room and keep that sterile. She's leaving and coming back. So that's one point that now is also in our mind that I think will help to understand how important it is to really rethink that setup that we're so used to here in the US.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's more of a workflow issue rather than like it's workflow and design together, because design is one thing. And if you have really good groups here in every country who can make very beautiful designs in every office, but dental office has really its own needs because it's like a treatment facility. It's not just everywhere. So you just cannot have like open space for everything, and you just can't have let everything go like that. But let's I saw a blog post maybe a year ago on your website saying designing office for the generation Y or Z. I don't remember the code, but yeah. So what would you really mean by designing for actually the new generation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there are different aspects to that. So I think I'm going to talk about the topic which ties back together with what the office looks like. So when we look back 20 years ago or even 30 years ago, my grandparents, they just went to the dentist that their dad went to, that their uncle went to, their brother went to. So you just went to the doctor that was closest by or that you knew. Well, nowadays, we spend so much time on our phones, on social media. We research everything. We research where we want to eat. We research where we want to buy our clothes. And we do also research our hairdresser and our dentist. So when I pick my dentist or the new generation who's so used to researching everything, what we're going to see is what an office looks like. When I look up someone's Yelp or Google profile, I'm not going to see how good that dentist is. I'm not going to see if he's going to extract my tooth better than another dentist, or if that implant's going to be better than the dentist across the street. What I'm going to see is how he presents his office and what it looks like and what it feels like. So I think that's one thing that really changes with our new generation, is how we research places, and it's just what we see. We can't know how good their technology is. We can only judge what we see at that moment.
Yes, actually, like everybody is emphasizing on this design thing, because it is really important. It really reflects the philosophy and why you are there, and what you do, and what standards you actually take into consideration when doing your actual work. But offices do look good many places in the world, but your designs, they might have something specific to them rather compared to other companies who may be doing, or other groups that may be doing this, not specifically for dentists, but for every
Yeah.
business, and they're doing for dentists. So I think you know a thing or two about like plumbing, everything about high vac, maybe everything installations that should be there, and the workflow that is even more important than than ever before. So what do you think a normal visit to or a modern visit to a dental office should look like? When you will enter like the reception, and then you will be waiting, or you will be referred to a treatment coordination area, or to consult room, or you just to go to the chair, or what do you like suggest in your workflow? What works best, or does it really depends?
Yeah. So there's not one answer to how should your workflow look like. There is a system that we've created to how we can customize for each single dentist, because that workflow will be different depending on what kind of dentistry you do, what kind of patients you see. So you can't put everyone in one box, and there's not one size fits all. So that system that we've created really has those features which tie together your centralized storage, sterilization, and your operatory rooms. So to answer your question, how should it look like when you walk into an office? I'm just seeing it from a patient perspective right now. So talking about new generations, we're so used to instant gratification. And in the past, a lot of offices that I've seen here in the US, we have those big waiting areas with 20 chairs for 6 operatories. And I don't want to wait when I go to the dentist. And we're so used to ordering something online and it arrives the next day. If we want to watch a video, we just turn on our TV and it's right there. We don't have to wait for it. So waiting areas, in my opinion, are going to become less and less, because first, the generation does not want to wait, and second, now with coronavirus, we don't want to sit in a room with 20 people next to each other waiting to go to a treatment.
That is correct. So, and that is a really the big paradigm shift in terms of how the space should be used, and how people should be like managed. They need some sort of processing. They need to be maybe in the consult, some treatment coordinator, or maybe with the doctor immediately, and that is how the system works. So yes, and there's technology in the dental office. So is it like you suggest some sort of technology, screens everywhere, or is it like doctors, you look at doctor needs and then you suggest edits, or what? How does it work if someone comes to you and says, I want an office, and maybe I want to remodel, and I want to do it for in a new way, in the best way possible. So what do you suggest in terms of, because I see many screens all over the office, and many of the designs that you have designed, and it is really beautiful because it is all useful. It's like designing with function in mind. It's not like just to be beautiful and show something. So how does that work?
Yeah, so for the technology perspective, we are not experts in technology and how to connect that within the office. So what we do is that we take those experts that are, for example, here in the US, and we work together with them so that we can integrate that into our designs. And of course, there are certain things that are repetitive that we just learn work the best. But for equipment and technology, we really want to work closely together with people who are experts in that, so that we can really integrate that and provide the doctor with the ideal solution.
So the screens that are there in the treatment room for patients, that maybe you helped them install them on the ceiling. So is this something that you often do?
Yeah, so usually if you have the TV in the ceiling, it's just from a patient perspective. If you lay in a chair and you have something to watch during your treatment, it's a distraction for them. It feels more comfortable than just sitting there and you don't know where you're supposed to look at. If you have a 1-hour treatment, you just stare at the ceiling. So that's just more for patient comfort. It does not have to do that much with workflow. It's really for the patient.
So it's a beautiful thing. Yes, and really patient really wants to see something or to be like entertained. Sometimes you just can use that to calm patients or even just for mere sort of a mere purpose of entertainment. And that is an awesome idea. I've been seeing that for some with quite some time right now in the designs, but not actually on the ceiling. It used to be somewhere like on the corner between the wall and the ceiling, but now you're just moving it to the ceiling. It really looks beautiful when it's really done with that design in mind, and that is really awesome. So let's get back to the sterilization area because this is really important, and you're just speaking with Surf City, you were just mentioning things like how you were suggesting how to put the stuff and everything that you have your like inventory that you need to have right now readily available in the treatment room. Do you suggest that to be stored in the sterilization area or in the treatment room, or there's actually no preference at all?
Yeah, there's definitely a preference, and that ties together with our entire story, with our system that we've created, which is the organization of your office. And only if you have the core of your office organized, which is your storage and sterilization, your single entry will work. So when we look back at 30 years ago here in the US, when doctors were working with single entry, the reason why it didn't work is because they were not organized properly to make it work. So we think, and for all offices that we design and build, we create a centralized storage. And you can see it the same way as I always compare with my closet at home. That if you have everything in one place, you know what you have and you know where you can find it. If it's spread out in 6 operatories, you're not going to know how much you have and where what is because it's just in too many places. So a centralized storage will help you organize your inventory, and it will also help you to distribute from that focal point to all your operatories, so that way you can set up each room for your treatments.
So you have like a sterilized package, which the system brings to the room before the actual treatment starts. But what if like there's some change or some modification to the procedure that happens along the way? Again, do you like have storage for maybe a backup equipment, or does it like work like it is? The assistant has to go and take it from the sterilization area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're not living in a perfect world, so there's always going to be something that can come up so that your assistant does have to leave. So now with our designs, how we create our single entry operatories and with our cabinetry, the way it is designed also with our assistant table on the cabinet, the layout of the room will always allow your system to leave the room without distracting your doctor, just the way we lay out the rooms and the cabinetry works. So if that ever happens, your assistant will be able to leave, and because you have your centralized storage, which is organized, she's gonna know exactly where she's gonna find what she's looking for, and it's prepared.
Awesome. Yes. So they go and take it from somewhere which has been already planned, and then it doesn't take really much time just to make the operatory change necessary in the treatment area, and that is a really awesome thing. In the dental office, you have that nowadays that small waiting area or reception, which shouldn't be like many big chairs. There's the reception desk, and what else other than treatment room and sterilization? What other like rooms or facilities do you have to account for in the design?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one important area that has been neglected a lot in the past is also your staff lounge. So
Aha.
staff area is something where when you just look at it from a investment standpoint, your staff lounge is not gonna bring you anything tangible. It's not like an operatory where you make money. So the staff lounge is really more for your staff. It's for you. It's a space where you can have daily meetings to really talk about what your plans are, go through your workflow, your structure. So it's a place to meet. And in addition to that, you'll also need a place to change your clothes, get your scrubs and all of that. So that area is something that it's hard to give up space for it, where you could put another operatory, but in the long run, it's gonna help you and your team, which you can't put in numbers.
Yes. How about consult rooms? You just is it based on workflow, or does it like work like you design it close to the reception area, or like maybe some other area that you that suits best for this scenario?
Yeah. So consult rooms, I think, is a lot of times to the preference of the doctor. We have a lot of dentists that prefer to do consult in the treatment room. So they like to have a small desk in the corner to really talk to the patient there, so they don't have to get them in and out of the chair. We also have other doctors that don't like having a patient in the treatment room because they don't want to pressure them in that room. So in my perspective, there's no clear answer to that. So what we're trying to do is give them the option to do both. Because if you have a big case and you're a specialist, and you're trying to sell a treatment for $80,000, then you want to have a private space to talk to your client and not sit in an operatory room. Now, if it's something smaller, then maybe if it's just extracting a tooth. So yeah, it really depends.
So, yes, I see many many of the designs that you have. They all look white and chic and sleek and very clean to the eye of the observer. And you use many, you use a lot of glass material in your designs. Is that like a preference of the doctor, or is it something that you suggest because of something like transmission of light or something in the office,
Mm-hmm.
maybe?
Yeah, so all our designs, of course, are also customized for the client. So if they don't want glass, we won't put glass. But there's a very simple reason why we like to use glass. It's because usually you put your operatories where you have your windows, and then you have a hallway in between, so that hallway would be dark if you don't have glass. So we really just use that to bring more light within the practice. So that is just
And it
that.
doesn't become a privacy issue for the patient, because you just like maintain the glass. It's not like you can see through the glass who's sitting in the operatory maybe.
Yeah, there are a lot of options. You can work with decals. You can put frosted glass there to provide more privacy. So there's a lot of options that you have to still have privacy for your patient.
And with regards to technology that is used in the office, because we use a lot of technologies, from cameras, from like the stuff that we use in the for the treatment, like oral scanners. We have lasers. We have like many other stuff. We have like loops, and we have microscopes that doctors use. And it is, and many processes are now digital. Many offices opt for digital dentistry. So I guess. Is there something special to this kind of dentistry, or is it like it is like the design is technology independent? How does that work?
Yeah. So to answer that question, there is certain preferences that we personally have, what we think is the ideal way how to do it. But our design will still work if you choose to work with different equipment, because of course, if you plan a new office, you're not always going to purchase entire new equipment. So there are things that we prefer just because that's our preference. But equipment is something that can be plugged in. And if there's something where we think it really will not work and it's worth it for you to invest in something else because it will help you with your workflow and your efficiency, then we'll tell you. If you don't want that, then we can still create something around that to still make it work.
Awesome. And with regards to like the technology that is now required in the coronavirus age, where actually it was required all the way long, but it was like a wake-up call. The coronavirus came along and said, listen, you have to just observe personal sanitation behavior. You just have to observe, you just have to clean away germs anyhow that you can. And in the dental office, it really becomes important more than ever. It's not like you just have to do the treatment and just clean the room and make it ready for the next patient. There will be protocols which obligate the dentist and the staff just to clean the room for a certain amount of time before another patient can walk into that room. So we are hearing many things about negative pressure rooms with those extra vacuum or evacuation from the rooms. Did you like, or do you like design office in a way so that extra like technology like this can be installed, or how does that work with office designs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting topic. And I was just talking with one of our clients the other day who redid his entire office. And previously, before he decided to work with us, he wanted to plan his entire office open with dual entry. And I talked to him, and he was so thankful that he decided to do a single entry, because now he's prepared to integrate systems that will allow him to filter the air in his rooms. So if you already work with that and you're prepared, you're able to install systems. If you have an entire open area with no doors, you just can't do that. So there's no air filtration system that you can put there if you have open rooms. So I think that's something that a lot of dentists, especially in the US, will run into, that they're not able to integrate certain systems that would help with that.
Are there any other countries that you work other than US and Germany?
Yes, we actually work globally. So we work in any country that you can imagine. Yeah, Europe and US are just our main, just because we're based in Europe and the US. But yeah, we have offices in Dubai, in Australia, in Russia. So yeah.
So there must be offices like down in Dubai that's with Kappler's technology and experience, and and I see many beautiful offices there too. So they might be your work, because it's not always Kappler's
Yeah,
logo on there, so you
yeah,
just can't
exactly.
tell. But I see like reception areas that you design, and it's like a signature design. Is it something that's specific to you, or is it like an option that people can choose, or can you elaborate on that too?
Yeah, I think our waiting areas, um, that typical touch that you can see is kind of the German touch.
Uh-huh.
So it's the minimal look. It's very clean. And here in the US, we have a lot of very traditional looking, darker colors, dark woods, carpet, and yeah, just that traditional look. So if you compare that to ours, it's more minimal, more modern. And what we try to do with our designs is we want to create something that's not a trend right now. What we want to do is really build something for you where you're going to work the next 10, 20, 30 years. And a lot of people look at our cabinetry and they say, oh, they look so modern. And it makes us smile, because one of our flagship cabinets is actually 20 years old. So we designed that 20 years ago, and it still looks super up to date, like we just did that a year ago. So I think that our attention to detail just is so important to us, to create something that will last. And it's not just, hey, it's a trend right now, let's do it. That's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah, awesome. So you just said the current design has been actually the basics are back from 20 years ago, like the 2000s.
Yes, yeah, we have several operatory cabinetry lines, and one of them is called Companera. I don't even know what that word means, but that's the name of it. And yeah, that's our flagship cabinetry. It's our most sold piece. And yeah, go on our website or our account and look at our cabinetry. And really, that design is 20 years old, and I'm not lying.
And your website is kappler.de, or you have another website too, kapplerdesign.com?
Yeah, we have two websites. So one is kapplerdesign.com and one is kappler.de. So one is more focused on the cabinetry and the other one is more focused on design, just to not overwhelm you with one.
So which one is which?
Kappler Design is for interior design and
Hmm.
Kappler D is for cabinetry.
So you both manufacture cabinets and do the design, and I think you just do the cabinetry, and that's what you specialize in, actually,
Mhm.
other than design. Yeah.
Correct. So we've been manufacturing and designing cabinetry for 70 years. And when you design cabinets for a sterilization area, for an operatory or for a lab, you have to know how a dental office works because that cabinet is right there where you store your equipment, where you work. It helps your workflow. So because we have all that knowledge that goes into those pieces, we just decided to also plan offices because we were saying we know everything, so why wouldn't we tell you? So we don't just want to buy you a piece of cabinetry. We really want to help you to improve how you work. So we just want to share that and help offices get more efficient and just give something back and not just sell a piece of cabinet.
So there's a special place for everything that a dentist should be using or the staff should be using. So you have just even worked through ergonomics to how to like reach for something and readily get it. So that is a really awesome idea because I think there are other companies who work in the US too, but comparing the designs from, and I'm speaking from memory, maybe 7, 8 years ago, I was looking all through those designs because I was redesigning my office, and they are not available in my country. So, and if they are, they will be very, very expensive. So, and maybe there may not be a way to just ship them. Maybe Kappler do something from Dubai to Iran, maybe.
We
And I
definitely
really,
would.
yes, and I really like the cabinetry that it's really simple, and I think everything is well thought out. You know how to, even the surfaces are so smooth and without any like hangers or without anything that if you want to clean it, disinfect them. It's really easy to just keep them clean and sterile, and that's a really big advantage in the workflow because it makes everything fast and it makes everything easy and intuitive, and everybody should love that. And the dentist, the staff, everybody, and the patients too. They must love it because there's no way. It's really great, and we really congratulate you on this business, a 70-year-old business. If it's been in business for 70 years, you must be doing something right that you are in business for 70 years. I would
Yeah,
tell.
and I think it's just really it's a family business and we're so invested in what we do and we always want to learn new things, really grasp everything that we learn from all those countries we work at, and we always thrive to make it better. So even if we designed the look of a cabinet 20 years ago, we added features, we added things that make it even better. And yeah, I think that just what thrive us is really that passion to make things better and never stop and think there's nothing else. So
That's the attitude. That's the attitude, and that's awesome because, um, yeah, I think you are very Corona ready already. The offices that you have designed, everything there is like you don't need to think change much if you have gone with the recommended designs that you recommend. Single entry operatories, and do you like a separate the sterilization area too? You put a door for that, or that is not necessary?
yeah, so the most of the sterilization areas that we build, or all of the ones that we design, they are able to add a door. So right now in the US, most people didn't want a door, but it's a separate room, so you're able to just add a door. Reason why we do that is because, for example, in Germany, we already have stricter regulations, so that you have to have a door, that you can't store anything in there. So we were already prepared and brought that here because we knew at one point those regulations were gonna come here. We didn't think that it was gonna be a virus that will make us realize that, but yeah, our offices are prepared for that, and it just makes us so happy that we can see that now the dentists that trusted us that what they're doing is right now see that it really makes sense.
So is it in the regulations? Because I can't read German. That's obvious. I know. That's the only thing is I know is it's ich weiß nicht and nothing about it, German. So
Yeah.
are there any regulations that are specifically telling that you put one like a door for sterilization or a single entry room for treatment? Is that like written in the code?
I'm not sure if there's a rule to have a single entry. I don't think that's a regulation. But for sterilization, we have very strict rules on how that has to look like. And one is, for example, that you're not allowed to store any sterilized instruments in your sterilization area. And here in the US, most sterilization areas that you look at, they're just one long cabinet. So your dirty instruments are here and the clean ones are here with just 10 feet distance. And in Germany, you're not allowed to do that. It has to be in a different room. And I think it's not going to take too long until that rule is also going to be in other countries, just because it's more safe.
So Germany is like being very forward and very strict in this area, and it may be already ready to go if the pandemic like resolves back to a new normal. People will go and really do not have to change anything else other than practicing some other extra steps just to make sure that you are extra clean. But they will be ready, and you. But maybe the U.S. needs to change, and maybe in Iran we do have to change the office designs. I guess that would be how is other like areas of the world that you work with? Are they? Do you think they are ready, or they will have problems like the U.S. may encounter? Because I talked to many, not many, but a few patients, and I see their stories on Instagram. I maybe go and ask, are you going to like close doors, open areas, or those open dual entry without door design into it, with door design? So, and they say, "No, we don't know, we're not ready. We were just evaluating the situation." So how do you think this will turn out?
Yeah, I think most importantly right now is really the personal protective equipment with the new mask and new clothes. So from an office design perspective, I think those changes are going to take a little bit longer just because it's harder than just changing what you wear. But I am sure that those regulations are going to become stricter. And I just talked with a client this morning from Israel. He's building a new practice, and yeah, of course they've been going through this as well, and they're now slowly opening back up. And we also planned closed operatories for him, and same thing for him. It's just more confidence for you and your patients to really have closed rooms where you're able to integrate filtration systems or simply just shutting the door so that no one can walk by, to really be prepared in case there are going to be regulations that will tell you that you have to do something with aerosol.
That is correct. It was really interesting for me looking back like 7, 8 years ago at what was designed at the moment, which was not all of them in 2010s. Maybe they were designed before that too, and there were a lot of carpets. And I was talking to my architects here in Tabriz that they are putting carpets in their offices, and they were like, why? Because we already have regulations that say no.
Yeah.
You just have to use ceramics or other. Are there any specific sort of ceramics that you're using, or is it like regular ceramic, or what are you just color the walls, or is it something different that you could be sterilizing or disinfecting more easily?
Yeah. So for carpet, there's also regulation here in the US that just says that carpet can be properly cleaned and kept clean, just because it's not possible to keep it as clean as a hard surface. So it's not a rule that tells you you can't use carpet, but in my opinion, if there's some material that you can't properly clean, it should not be in any healthcare environment. It doesn't matter if it's a rule or not. So we would never put carpet in a healthcare environment. It doesn't matter if it's waiting area or operatory. And we usually work with LVT, which is a luxury vinyl tile, which is just better than a stone floor, just because it's not as slippery, it's easy to clean. They're all healthcare approved, so those kind of materials is more our preference.
And that is a really great choice, I think. I had heard the material, but I'm not sure if it is available everywhere in the world. But yes, you have to be able to kind of sort of clean that, and everything is not about like being looking great. It has to look great and function well as well. So, I think we covered almost everything. Is there anything that you want to be talking about your company or about the situation in general that is now in the world? Because you're still in quarantine, aren't you?
Yeah, so here in North Carolina, we still have a stay-at-home order. We're gonna loosen those restrictions, I think this Friday, where some more businesses are gonna open, but it's still not you can go out and back to work like normal. So it's still kind of weird to interact with people outside. Yeah, we are wearing masks when we go outside to the grocery store just to also protect the other people. But yeah, I think our personal lives will change. It's gonna be a new normal, how we interact, how we go outside, how we clean our hands and all of that. And I think for dental environments, it's more conscious in everyone's minds. And I think that it's important for our environment, the dental world, that we really look into how we can prepare not just for us, but for the patients that will walk into your practice, and it's going to be in their minds that that there are germs and bacteria and that they're more afraid. So I think that is just very important moving forward from now. And yeah, we're here.
Yeah, health is important, more than ever important, and sanitation and every procedure, every protocol that you use in your daily life has to somehow be upgraded, and everything in the office too. So we have to have more cleaner offices, and we have to make them more like enjoyable for the new generation. And it's not like the younger ones, even the older ones still are upgrading themselves too, because they are all used to the new normals and new world.
Yeah.
And everything is faster in this new world. And why not dentists? Dentists have to like be upgraded too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Julia Kappler, for your explanation and your agreeing to talk to us. It was really enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the great conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that people that are watching or are gonna watch, that they can take something out from here. And yeah, to everyone.
Hopefully,
just
yeah,
feel
yeah,
free.
definitely. Everybody will benefit from this because we do not have an abundance of specialized like companies who do like dental office design, and they do it well. And the words from you were words of wisdom and really appreciate it. I think everyone will appreciate that, and this is really something that has to be taken account. That every dentist that gets into the profession, gets into the dental school, has to have this back in the back of his mind, because many of our audience are dental students too. So I think they will be benefiting from this too. Okay, I think this wraps up today's episode of Digident Talk. Thank you, Julia, and
Thank you.
Charlotte in North Carolina, and here in Tabriz. From everybody, this is goodbye.
Bye bye.